Hi everyone. Energies are really inviting us at the moment to start honoring the one and the many. Um, we come from a time frame where, especially people who have been down the path of inner work and waking up, um, mainly focused on the one. And maybe that's a very natural development when in the first years of our lives, we were so much identified with the many, with people, with jobs, with money, with whatever is not part of source. And then we feel so deeply this urge and this fire to turn within, to start honoring source, God, essence. I have been talking about this, I think, a few weeks ago, and I feel I'm going to address this again because I feel it's so potent at this time. There is this big divide going on, and I don't want to use the word spiritual world because it's not a really I don't have anything with it anymore. But just to address what I'm talking about, there is this divide going on, and I see like the split. There is a split happening where people are focusing on mainly God, source, essence, and therefore not honoring the one in the many anymore. And I think it's so important to start developing this awareness inside of us, to start seeing that God is present in everything and everyone. I don't want to sound like a preacher. If I am, so be it. But there has been so many beautiful things happening in my life and the people around me that really proclaim this, that really embody this truth. Just this morning, a dear friend of mine shared an experience with me. With yesterday, he was with his daughter at the breathing session, and the whole breathing session, he didn't quite get in touch with himself, with his body, with essence. And at the end, everybody just laid down, minding their own safe space. And I thought he also shared he had a blanket around him, and there was just one of those people who arranged this, who held this breathing session, touched him. And that was the point that he broke, that he felt his inner child, that he needed to cry. And he felt and realized so deeply the coldness and the lack of intimacy he didn't have as a child. And that just speaks for me everything. This is what it's about. God is present in what he experienced in the many, in a connection with another person. He needed to have this mirror to experience the one in him. And as many of you know, I think by just listening to my videos, I have been struggling with belief and faith a lot. I think all of my life I have been searching for a path. I have been searching for a strict way, I guess. And I feel so clearly it's just really time to just drop it, to drop it all. There is really no, I speak for myself, there is no clear or straight path. There is not the path of non-duality, the path of duality, the path of whatever we choose to follow. And a part of waking up is really embracing everything God's created. If we were meant to just mainly wake up by honoring um, God in the one and not so much in the many, then what would be the reason to live as fragmented pieces of God? What would be the purpose of that? I see so clearly right now that the fragmentation is also such a divine construct. And especially in this time frame, a lot of people, including myself, have been talking about the split. There is really a split going on in awareness. But that doesn't mean that we need to be rejecting the dual world. I think that if we do, we really get things wrongly. It's everybody knows the analogy of the ocean and the waves being our fragmented selves, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's joy, whether it's fear. Those waves, they come up out of the oneness. They create, we create these waves that are always part of the ocean. And when we are not awake, we see those waves as this fragmented self, and we forget the presence of source in it, in everything, until those waves crash in the shore or at the beach. For us, that means this existential crisis because our psychological construct is crumbling down. And by that, we restore connection with source again. By that, we realize there was always God. And there was God in the separateness, but there is God in the crashing down also. I guess that is it's not easy to embrace, because if we walk away from the many, if we choose to, I chose in a part of my life to walk away from the many. And I'm not saying a period of isolation to be with oneself isn't fruitful. For me, it has been very fruitful. But I also believe, just like I mentioned in a previous video, that when we harvest the fruits of solitude, it's also very important not to cling on to what we harvest and just remain there because we became codependent to the silence, or codependent to just vibing with source. If we walk away from the many, we walk away from our own shadow. And I hear a lot of people talk about leaving the masses and just go live in a very remote place. Also, there is no right and wrong in it. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong in it, but check your motives. I think that's very important. Check your motives. I have been isolating, not all of it, but a part of it, just because I was not ready to get confronted with my shadows in the many. So a part of it was a motivation of my fragmented self to stay isolated, to not connect with society, to not connect with the world around me. And I truly believe that there is nothing to heal, because we always have been whole, we always will be whole. But what I do truly believe is that we need the many, therefore situations outside of ourselves, people, places, um, happenings that will mirror us that truth. I have been in a spot, like I think many of us have been, where we have been trying to look for truth in meditation, in solitude, in detachment from duality. That in itself is, as I said before, is can be very fruitful, and it has been fruitful. But these energies right now are really asking of us to take a look at, yeah, I'm careful with the word what we believe, because when I say that implements that, I want to say maybe you start needing to start believe something new, and that's not what I'm trying to say here. I think what I'm trying to say here is that we maybe start needing to detach from belief, and that everything that God has created, including materialism, our body, um, everything that has to do with the dualistic construct, we need to befriend again. Cannot speak for you guys, but I feel that I'm at a point in my life where I need to start befriending the many. And more importantly, see God in the many, and vice versa, see many in the God. It is not separate from each other. There is no separateness between source and duality. It will always be like this. And the more we try to make a stand for either one of it, the more we withhold ourselves from becoming truly awake. I have been withholding myself from intimacy, um, daily interactions with people who didn't resonate, because that was also a mental construct. It was safe. I needed it a period in my life to build my own identity. But at one point it just became safe to um, stay away from people and situations that weren't resonating with where I was. I was only engaging with situations and people that did resonate with where I'm at. And in that situation, um, it is a misperceived truth. You get what you feel what I'm getting at? We start controlling our situation, our life, so we cannot be mirrored back by life in its whole. Just recently I started making lunch at a community center, and there I started talking and engaging with people I would normally not engage with. But I got so much back, and I gave so much. It is, I started opening up to everything. I didn't stay in that cylinder of my truth, my beliefs. And beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things start happening then when we start letting go of our belief system. when we start seeing and acknowledging God in the many. And that we need each other to bring each other back home, as Ramdas said so beautifully. We are here to just walk each other home. And we cannot do that by divides and aversion, and this is right and this is wrong. Or I only need God to come home. No, we don't. We need everybody around us. Do what it doesn't want. And with it, I mean our fragmented selves, our ego. There lies the development to do what it doesn't want. Because isn't it protecting our shadow side, if you're honest? So look at your aversions at the moment. Look at what it doesn't want. And go do that. There lies truth. For me, it has been a long ride to start acknowledging that. I acknowledge that I arrived safety from having this mental perception of what my path looked like. And therefore, I didn't see the whole prisma of experiences that were always there for God to show me. But I was withholding myself from it because I was scared to open up completely. I was scared to connect with people who didn't see me, who didn't see my construct of personality that I had built. And why was I scared? Because if I would interact with them and they showed me something that wouldn't resonate with the construct I had built, it would crash that wave onto the shore. So for me, current energy is really inviting me to let go of any form of spiritual construct. To stop clinging on to a belief, to a story. Talking about trust, that is true trust. That is true trust in God. And letting go of beliefs and spiritual practices doesn't mean that when you throw it away, you cannot take care of yourself anymore. Because maybe some of you might say, yeah, but if I throw that away, some people are unhealthy for me and I'm not becoming this completely self-sacrifice Jesus Christ. No. Because you need to start trusting that you have gathered that tools inside of you to know where your boundaries are to stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, and spiritually. That is living in true autonomy. That is living in true resonance with God. To trust that in every situation, whether it's on your meditation cushion, whether it's talking to your neighbor, whether it's walking in the grocery store, that you will feel the right hunches, that you have done the work. You have had your time of solitude, you have had your time of introspection. You know your energy. You know when something's off. Much love.